I'm Parisienne Farmgirl, and the frost is gonna come tonight, and I'm saving all the plants with Mom.
Oh, good job, cutie. It's sad. I'm really sad. This is it. Like, the solar lights just turned on, and we're gonna have a hard frost, and that's it. That's the first year of our garden. I might cry. That is a beautiful dahlia.
I do want it to frost.
Let me see it. Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, it's so pretty. It's like a white sunflower.
Why?
Just rubbery.
Now it's gonna be winter.
Can I see those scissors? Some more time. Down deep. Right here, right here. If you can't do it, Mama can do it. It's very strong. It's a very good rosemary.
I like it.
So I brought most of them in.
And we're just really sad because our garden.
Yeah, Mom is.
We worked really hard on this garden a long time ago. And this is our last frost.
First frost.
First! And Mom is already crying.
Huh?
Oh, Mama, we should cut this one.
Do you want that for your bedroom? That's a forget-me-not. We won't ever forget our first garden here, right? Cat, move your tail. That looks really effective.
It's no different than what's
Oh, that's perfect. I am bringing in rosemary. I put some rosemary on Instagram a couple days ago. Pictures from my greenhouse of a lot of rosemary plants that I brought in, and I got barraged with questions on how I overwinter my rosemary, and it's true. Growing rosemary in the Midwest can be very disheartening. It's not Napa, Napa Valley where it grows big like a hedge, cypress. They have them just huge. They're gorgeous in California, but here we go through all this work. We enjoy the herb all summer, and then it's kind of like, that's it. But you can actually bring your rosemary in for the winter. I bring mine in terracotta pots, but you can bring them in and keep them over winter. They bloom adorable little purple flowers around February, I think. So I'm gonna take this inside and give you some hints on overwintering your rosemary.
you doing, Anais? I am fixing my bike. Hi, Junior. What's up?
He's beautiful. Gosh, they're so hardy looking. Gorgeous. That is so beautiful to me. Gosh.
Hey, how you doing, babe?
It feels, so we had the garden before in McHenry, and it was gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. Stupidly, before I had children, I wondered if I would love it as much as I love my kids, which of course is so dumb because of now knowing 13 years later how much I love being a mom. But I did wonder. I mean, I loved my garden, and it still catches my breath when I see it on Pinterest. And after everything we went through, just wondering if I would ever have that again. You know, I think we did a fantastic job at Halfway Farm, making a rental farm look charming and a place where we could recover, but it's not the same as having your own garden where you're planning ahead and, you know, contemplating a layered garden, and the future was not a luxury that I had at Halfway. And so to be here and be planting tulip bulbs and thinking, what are these going to be like 4 years from now when the garden's established, and perennials, and will I want to take them out, will I want to move them around, just all the giddy thoughts, the extravagance of being able to plan for the future artistically in this space it's incredible. I'm doing great.
What's he doing? I'm planting green. Cool.
All right, chances are you've killed a few rosemary just like I have, so this isn't a definitive example of everything you can do to overwinter your rosemary. I'm just going to tell you a few hints, things that I've done. Number one, really to have the best results with overwintering your rosemary, you want to start them in pots, okay, not in your herb garden. I am stubborn, so I start them in my herb garden, and then I dig them up. But rosemary does not like to be transplanted. So they always go through this initial shock where they're not very happy with me for the first couple days. So when you do that, when you're digging them out, mind the roots, make sure that you get as much of them as possible, and they will tell you how happy they are. So I have one that's very pleased with me right here, and I have this guy who is not so happy. So if you get a little droopage factor after you bring your rosemary in, what you're gonna wanna do is divide it into thirds and give it a proper haircut. Okay, so I won't do this all right here, but I'm going to take off like the top third. And then of course have delicious rosemary potatoes for dinner. Don't waste that rosemary. And then you want to completely soak this bad boy. In fact, soak them all. Don't wait for them to go into that transplant shock. You want to put so much water in that it's coming out the bottom, it's coming out the top. Give them an initial fabulous hosing for sure. But that's what you want to do when you got that droopage. if you have a rosemary plant that's mad at you because of the transplant. Now, what you're trying to do in your greenhouse or in the sunniest room in your home, as best you can, is you're trying to imitate the climate of Provence and Italy and Napa, all right? But you have less humidity, so you've turned on your furnace and you're drying them out. I'm sure you've had it happen where they get all crispy and sad and pathetic. That's because of your furnace, most likely. So you want to keep the humidity up in your greenhouse, 50–55%, and you can come by and give them a spritz just to help replicate that humidity. You can do it once or twice a day. Very easy. Let the kids do it. They'll love it. They love an excuse to squirt on anything. But you can do that to keep the humidity up. You can also do what they call humidity trays. Take those seed trays that you might not be using right away, that you're going to be using like in March, for example. Put some pebbles in, put some water in, keep the humidity going in your greenhouse. Don't set your rosemary right next to a heat vent. Keep it away from that blasting heat. And last but not least, as far as watering them, they will tell you, the soil will tell you when they need water. So you can just put your finger in the soil. Now this one's perfect, actually. There's not really any clumps coming out on my finger, just a little bit, but it's not dusty, okay? If you put your finger in and it feels totally dry, you know, halfway down your finger, it's time to water your rosemary. So you don't want to overwater, you don't want to underwater, you want to give them a trim if they went into transplant shock, and ideally, the rosemary that you're going to take back and forth from your potager to your greenhouse to enjoy over the winter, you want to have those in pots, like on your patio. You don't want to be digging them out of the ground, but it can be done because I do it. Now in February, these will flower, adorable little purple flowers. I'll be happy, they'll be happy, and then I will put them back in the ground come spring. Ooh, I think we'll have rosemary on our pasta even tonight. Just dump the bag in. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Bravo!
Merci bien.
Yeah.
Merci. Thank you. Okay, we're done here. Oh, brother.
Done.
Done.
Night.
Night night, tulips.
Night.
Night night.
Oh, shirt.
What?
Shirt.
Shirt? Yeah, it's a garden shirt.